I just want my little sister home safely, and
Right now, she's listed as an endangered missing person.
just
The sheriff says the search is focusing on a section of woods which police have narrowed by triangulating Elizabeth's cell phone location. However, the battery has now died. Also, the search is being hampered by an uneven terrain, high brush, and soaking weather.
I just want my little sister home safely, and
Right now, she's listed as an endangered missing person.
St. Martin's, Missouri, Lomo Drive, a quiet rural road just west of Jefferson City, where Elizabeth K. Olten was living. She was 9 years old, born on December 15, 1999. Pink was her favorite color. She had a 13-year-old brother named Anthony, an older sister named Stephanie, and a mother, Patricia Price, who was making dinner when a girl knocked at the door asking if Elizabeth could come out to play. Patricia said yes. Be back by 6. Elizabeth left. Her mother watched her go. 6 o'clock came. Elizabeth didn't come home. Patricia knew immediately. Elizabeth was afraid of walking through the woods in the dark. She was never late. The family searched, then called police.
This is KOMU 8 News at 6.
Truly is a family's worst nightmare. In this case, 9-year-old Elizabeth Olten from Cole County has been missing since yesterday evening. Good evening, I'm Angie Bailey.
And I'm Ryan Takeo in for Jim. Cole County authorities and volunteers have been searching for Elizabeth all day. KOMU 8's Brooke Hash is at the scene. Brooke, is there anything new?
Ryan, I can tell you that the number of volunteers and law enforcement across the state have tripled since last night to more than 300 people. They are covering a half-square-mile grid search near Elizabeth Olten's home that is just behind me. She went missing last night around 6 p.m. on her way home from a friend's house just 4 blocks away. The search has not ended since then. There's no decision if or when it will end, and no Amber Alert has been issued.
The terrain is rough, hilly, and includes fields, forests, and ponds.
Well, I think that the woods possibility is, the kids in this area play in the woods, in those farm areas back there.
Behind me here is the VFW. This is where authorities and volunteers have been coordinating the search all day. Now they're actually asking for no new volunteers. The outpour from the community has been outstanding. They just can't handle any more volunteers. Elizabeth reportedly had a cell phone on her when she disappeared. Officials hope they will be able to trace her location and are investigating her call history. Michael Amantea, KOMU 8 News, Cole County.
Now, if you have any information, of course, contact the Cole County Sheriff's Department. The number is 573-634-9160.
Cole County law enforcement launched a 2-day search across October 22nd and 23rd. Hundreds of volunteers covered the wooded terrain surrounding Lomo Drive. FBI agents were brought in. They pinged Elizabeth's cell phone. The signal placed her in a nearby wooded area. They swept through it. They found nothing, not her, not the phone. Anthony told investigators what he had seen the evening she vanished. He had been inside playing video games with 2 boys from a neighboring family when their younger sister came to the door and asked if Elizabeth could play. When Elizabeth didn't return, he went looking. He saw a teenage girl from the neighborhood walking the younger child up from the direction of the woods and heard her say, low and direct, "Don't tell anyone." He didn't think much of it then. Investigators filed it away.
The sheriff says the search is focusing on a section of woods which police have narrowed by triangulating Elizabeth's cell phone location. However, the battery has now died. Also, the search is being hampered by an uneven terrain, high brush, and soaking weather.
I just want my little sister home safely, and
Right now, she's listed as an endangered missing person.
On October 23rd, Cole County Sheriff Greg White received a tip pointing to a 15-year-old girl who lived 4 houses down from the Oltens. Elizabeth had been heading toward her house the evening she disappeared. Her name is Alyssa Bustamante, 15 years old at that time. 4 houses down from the Oltens. Elizabeth came to play at her house regularly. She was not a stranger. Alyssa was born in California. Her mother, Michelle Bustamante, was an addict whose drug and alcohol abuse led to multiple misdemeanor convictions. She disappeared from the family repeatedly. Her father, Cesar Bustamante, Michelle's cousin by marriage, was in prison on 3 concurrent felony assault terms. They had Alyssa when Michelle was 15 years old. In 2002, when Alyssa was 7, Her grandparents Gary and Karen Brooke took legal custody of her and her 3 younger siblings and moved them to St. Martin's, Missouri. On the surface, Alyssa functioned. She was an A and B student, ranked in the top third of her class at Jefferson City High School, active in her local Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and described as protective of her younger siblings. She had no prior criminal record. Beneath that, something else was running. Around 2007, at 13, she was hospitalized after a suicide attempt and began receiving mental health treatment for depression and self-cutting. She was prescribed Prozac. On her YouTube and MySpace profiles, under hobbies, she had listed cutting and killing people. She posted a photo of herself with fake blood around her mouth, pointing her fingers at her head like a gun. FBI Special Agent Sean McDermott visited Alyssa's house on October 22nd. He would later testify the teenager he interviewed seemed lucid, not standoffish at all. She was cooperative and answered their questions. Behind the house, they found a hole, shallow, roughly rectangular, dug by hand. She told them she just liked to dig holes in the woods. Agents noted it and moved on. It was empty. The FBI obtained a warrant and went back. They searched the bedroom. The walls had writings on them, letters and fragments, and there was a diary. The diary's entry dated October 21st, 2009, the day Elizabeth vanished, had been heavily scribbled over. Someone had pressed down hard and layered ink across the page, trying to make it unreadable. Through the scratched surface, forensic investigators could first make out only 2 words: slit and throat. Forensic handwriting consultant Don Locke examined the journal, confirmed it was written by one person, and deciphered what lay underneath. The full entry read, "I just fucking killed someone. I strangled them and slit their throat and stabbed them, now they're dead. I don't know how to feel ATM, it was amazing." As soon as you get over the "oh my god, I can't do this" feeling, it's pretty enjoyable. I'm kind of nervous and shaky though right now. "Okay, I gotta go to church now. LOL." She had written it, then attended a church dance that same night while hundreds of people searched the woods for a 9-year-old girl. The diary contained other entries referencing a silver blade and razor. She had over 300 self-inflicted cuts on her body, along with cigarette burn marks. Law enforcement moved. Missouri State Highway Patrol Sergeant David Rice interviewed the teenager in the days following the disappearance. She held her story. She liked to dig holes. She hadn't seen Elizabeth. She knew nothing.
Well, there's been, there were some folks out there out in the forest, I guess, digging some holes or looking at some holes. And I guess they had said that you like to go out there and dig holes. So I'm going to have to ask you some stuff about yourself. Tell me about these holes you dig.
Well,
You dig them a certain way? Just wherever they're at? Do you dig at a certain spot or what?
Well,
and you can understand why, as if people were out in the woods looking for a person, if they were lost, or God forbid, looking for, if they thought it was God forbid, a body. Have you dug a hole like this before then, or is this the first time?
It's not completely like this, but it's kind of like that.
Okay. So
big enough for a shoebox.
Okay, but this is the first time of that size.
Yes.
Okay.
But what about the big round ones that I kept falling in? And they're deep. And I kept telling them, "Did you guys quit doing this? Because they're dangerous. And we used to ride our horses up there, and I could break leg." They're huge.
Okay.
There's 3 or 4 of them. Yeah.
Did you want to draw this for you?
I have a map.
Oh.
Now the thing about this map, I don't think it has where your actually house is. So the way I understand the new house would be right back here. Is that right? Okay, let's say the new house is ballpark here.
I'm not exactly sure how far back it goes. It's past all the clearings, and then when it starts to get to a smaller trail.
So how long, when you got home about 3:30, how long were you at home messing around before you went on your walk, do you think?
I was home at least an hour.
Okay, so about 4:30 or 5.
Right. Well, there's I believe that this little line here is the trail or something. But
did you go out all this way over here? And then where'd you go from here?
I just kept following the
where does it go from here? Show me. Show me what, does it loop back around now?
No, it doesn't loop. It goes this way, I think.
Okay, and then what'd you do?
And then there was a pasture. I just hung out at the creek.
And then Then what'd you do?
I came back.
Then you walked back?
Yes.
And then what'd you do?
I went home. It takes about...
How long were you on your walk?
Walk? It's about 15 or 20 minutes.
Okay, so you were gone about an hour.
But the diary had been confirmed as hers.
We talked a little bit earlier about technology.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you write something down and then you take a pen and try real hard to scratch it out, that doesn't make it go away.
Okay.
It's still there. What we want to do is find out what happened to the little girl. I need to know what the truth is.
Okay.
We have your diary. We've read your diary, including the last entry. Where's she at?
I don't know.
You need to tell us the truth. You need to tell us what happened. If this was an accident, that's fine. We can deal with that. This family needs closure. Okay? Let's start at the beginning. Is this something that was planned out, or was this just an accident?
We're just mentioning around. And she fell. And she died. And I didn't know what to do. So I burned her body.
Who helped you?
Nobody.
Where at in the forest?
I creek bed.
At the creek bed.
Yes.
And I understand you said she fell, and that's why she died. However, they will know from the autopsy if she was shot, if she was hit in the head, if her throat was cut. How did she die? 9-year-old girls don't just die. Was her throat cut?
Yeah. Oh.
Grandma?
Oh my God.
I'm not going to ask any questions right now until we get. And is it true you said then you burned her body? Okay, is that part true? So is her body should still be there?
I burned it and scattered it and all over the creek.
Into the creek?
Yes.
Is the creek full of water?
Yes.
You didn't have a shovel with you.
I had a knife.
You didn't dig that hole with a knife. You did not dig. I was out there for 5 hours. You didn't dig that hole with a knife.
I dug it Friday.
When confronted with it, she broke. She confessed to killing Elizabeth Olten. Sergeant Rice asked why. His testimony in court. Ultimately, she stated she wanted to know what it felt like.
What we're going to do right now is kind of get some things lined up to go out there and have you point out that side where she's at. Will you be able to do that?
She then led investigators out of the house, past the first hole, past a barn, further down the road to a second grave. Round in shape, more hastily dug, covered with leaves. Elizabeth Olten was inside under 5 to 6 inches of dirt. FBI agent Gentry, who helped excavate the grave, testified at the sentencing hearing. She said her own daughter had been around the same age as Elizabeth. She said, "I helped dig her out of that grave. It was very difficult. Mental health professionals who examined her throughout the case diagnosed her with major depressive disorder and borderline personality disorder. All of them testified that she had known right from wrong."
Juvenile court officials confirmed today they are seeking a petition of first-degree murder against a 15-year-old suspect for the killing of 9-year-old Elizabeth Olten.
The case now centers on letting the court decide if the suspect should stand trial as an adult. That starts with a closed detention hearing tomorrow. After the detention hearing, the court will hold a certification hearing November 18th to determine whether or not to try the suspect as an adult. Among factors the court will consider are whether a history of violence is present, as well as the suspect's age, maturity, and sophistication. Now, there's only about 6 houses on the entire street. It's a very small community. So even though officials won't release the identity of the person being held for the killing, many people have already figured it out.
Until after the certification hearing, that you not release the identity of that individual. That's what we're asking at this point.
1 week before the murder, on a Friday off from school, Alyssa went into the woods behind her house and dug 2 holes, both by hand. One rectangular and carefully shaped, one round, left as a backup. She then returned to school, kept her routines, and waited. On the evening of October 21st, she sent her younger sister to the Olten house to ask if Elizabeth could come out. When Elizabeth arrived, Alyssa sent her sister back outside and led Elizabeth into the woods alone. She strangled her. She slit her throat with a kitchen knife. She stabbed her 8 times in the chest. Forensic pathologist Dr. Chris Stacy, with over 3,000 autopsies in his record, testified that the strangulation most likely came first, then the stabbing. He could not be certain of the exact sequence. What he could confirm, every wound, its cause, and what each one meant. Alyssa placed Elizabeth's body in the round grave, covered it with leaves, walked home, and went to a church dance.
I hope justice is served. I really do. Because it's not right. She was innocent. She didn't do nothing to deserve to be killed the way she was killed. She didn't have a chance at life. It was all hugs and, holding each other and such like that. It was harder to leave than it was to get there. Like I said, she was my bug. She's my heart. I bought a house out in Russellville, and the whole room was pink. It was all Barbie and everything. She was outgoing, she's active, loved riding her bike. I have her picture on my wall, okay? Every time I look up at it, I want to cry. I get mad, I get angry, I feel sorry. Every night I tell her I love her, and I'm sorry I wasn't there to protect her. Every single night, okay? I just wish that it never happened.
People who don't know you may see you on camera and think, you know what, he's behind bars. Why should I feel sorry for this guy?
Don't feel sorry for me. Feel sorry for my daughter. Okay? Feel sorry for her siblings. Okay? Feel sorry for the world because they're missing out on a beautiful child. I have my guilt. Okay? I've done wrong. Okay? I wouldn't be here otherwise. I should have been out there protecting my daughter. I should be out there every day protecting my family. If I could, I'd go back and do that.
Alyssa Bustamante was arrested October 26, 2009. On October 28, the same day as Elizabeth Olten's funeral, she was charged with first-degree murder. A certification hearing on November 18th resulted in a ruling that she would be tried as an adult. She was indicted on first-degree murder and armed criminal action. Her arraignment lasted less than 1 minute. A not guilty plea was entered on her behalf. She was held without bail. Her juvenile defense attorney, Kurt Valentine, argued against adult certification, warning the court that Bustamante would not survive in an adult facility, that it was signing a death sentence for Alyssa. While in juvenile custody, she had attempted to cut herself with her own fingernails. The judge certified her as an adult. She was sent to Fulton State Hospital for psychological evaluation. Every mental health professional who examined her concluded the same thing. She had known right from wrong. Trial was scheduled for January 30th, 2012. 3 weeks before, prosecutors offered a plea deal. Alyssa accepted, pleading guilty to second-degree murder and armed criminal action. When she confirmed what she had done aloud in open court, there was an audible gasp. The sentencing hearing ran February 6th and 7th, 2012, before Judge Patricia Joyce. Prosecutor Richardson closed by asking for life plus 71 years. 71 for every year Elizabeth Olten, age 9 with a life expectancy of 80, would never have. Mental health experts detailed Alyssa's depression, self-harm history, medication history, and borderline personality disorder. They asked the court to consider her youth and psychiatric background in sentencing. Then the defense called its second witness, a man no one in the courtroom expected. Cesar Bustamante was brought in from prison wearing chains and handcuffs. He was serving 3 concurrent felony assault terms. He sat before the court and spoke about who he was, how he and Michelle, cousins by marriage, had Alyssa when Michelle was 15. He described his drug use, the family's history of mental illness, the instability Alyssa was born into. He described the childhood he had not been present for and could not give back. Karen Brooke, Alyssa's grandmother, testified last. She described raising Alyssa and the 3 siblings, Alyssa's protectiveness over them, her suicide attempt, her self-cutting, and the toll of Michelle's repeated disappearances on the household. When the judge announced the sentence would be handed down the next day, Bustamante's grandmother ran from the courtroom in tears. Elizabeth's grandmother, seated in a wheelchair, called out across the room, "Alyssa should get out of jail the same day Elizabeth gets out of the grave." Before the sentence was read, Alyssa addressed the court. She looked toward Elizabeth's mother and siblings. "I know words can never be enough, and they can never adequately describe how horribly I feel for all of this. If I could give my life to get her back, I would. I'm sorry." Patricia Price sat in silence. Judge Joyce sentenced Alyssa Bustamante to life in prison with the possibility of parole, plus a consecutive 30 years for armed criminal action. Prosecutor Richardson's statement, "The sentences were appropriate for an innocent child strangled and stabbed simply for the thrill of it." Alyssa Bustamante was 18 years old. Alyssa appealed the sentence in 2014. It was denied. Alyssa was held personally responsible and ordered to pay Price $5 million plus interest. In 2024, Missouri's Senate Bill 26 made Alyssa eligible for a parole hearing. The law allowed juvenile offenders serving life sentences to seek parole after 15 years, excluding only those convicted of first-degree murder. Because Alyssa had pleaded to second-degree murder, she qualified. Alyssa's next hearing is scheduled for 2029. Even if the life sentence is ever paroled, the consecutive 30-year term remains. Her earliest possible release is 2059, when she will be 65 years old.